100 years ago, there was a book that turned the Joseon kingdom upside down. The book 서유견문, called Observations on Travels in the West, was written by Yu Gil-jun, the first man from Joseon to study abroad in the US. What about today, 100 years after Yu wrote his book? Over the past century, Korea has embraced Western civilization and experienced rapid industrialization. Today, Korea is more relevant in the world than it ever was in the past. This is our attempt to create our own version of observations on travels in the West. "60 years ago, in the aftermath of the Korean War, South Korea had to rely on foreign aid. But today, South Korea is a major aid donor, providing assistance to all corners of the globe on both governmental and non-governmental levels. Famous for its Great Lake, Malawi is also known as the warm heart of Africa. But with an annual income per capita of less than $300, most people can barely afford a meal a day. Even those in the commercial capital, Blantyre, struggle. Prominent in this neighborhood is this kindergarten. Unlike other schools, it has many children. Here, the children are high-spirited and show little signs of hunger and fatigue. Why is this place different?
Pozwa kuti ana amene akuchoka panopo akayamba primary komanso ana amenewo azakhala akulimbikisika mu mtima mwawo kuti akayamba skulu aziphunzira skulu molimba mtima.
Supplying food here is this group of men who visit once a month. Each time, they're warmly received by the children. 125 kilos of chikondi fala will feed 89 children for a month. Among the visitors is South Korean Kim Yong-Jin.
So, are you preparing now?
Yeah.
Okay, back there? Okay.
He asks whether the children like the fala and if there's enough.
Wow.
The fala comes to a boil.
Yeah.
Okay.
This corn-based porridge is rich in vitamin and iron, making it ideal for the children's growth.
Too much hot.
Yeah. Did you put salt?
Yeah, we have you have a salt.
Okay. That's nice. It's delicious.
Prepared with love and care, the fala is finally ready. The sweet smell of fala excites the young children. One by one, the children receive their cups of porridge. Watching them eat is a treat in itself. After the meal, the visitors bid farewell to the children.
When I will be released on 25 October this year, 2012, I think I will open my nursery school and I will employ my people so that maybe they produce the juniper same like you are doing, and I will help other people.
These hands of help are unique. Unique in that the men are inmates at Makande Prison. Some had been imprisoned for stealing food, but now they're producing and sharing food with people in need. Consequently, the atmosphere at Makande is said to be different from others. Due to overcrowding and food shortage, despair prevails at most prisons across Malawi, but not at Makande.
At present, there is a real change. Before Crops of Love under Dr. Kim arrived at this place and started working with us in partnership, we had so many problems.
Hello. Hello. Hi.
Rehabilitation at Makande is largely credited to criminologist Doctor Kim Yong-Jin. To help out, he lives on prison grounds. Among Kim's achievements, turning the prison into a farm. It's a joint venture by the Malawi Prison Service and South Korean charity group Crops of Love. Now in its 10th year, the project is a huge success, driven by agricultural know-how and equipment from South Korea.
This garden is near from the water supply, so every year we do not skip. And that means we are doing irrigation to grow maize at least 2 times, sometimes 3 times a year.
Prior to the farming project, the local government could feed the inmates once a day. But now they're getting 3 square meals a day.
Important aspect about Makande Prison is that it's able to produce food for itself as a prison, so it's able to feed the prisoners. So obviously as government we see that the pressure on the national budget is being eased because of the program that is happening, producing food, vegetables and all other crops.
Crops are also processed on the prison grounds.
Hello. Hi, good morning. Hi, good morning.
To check on operations, Dr. Kim arrives early.
You already started?
At this mill, corns, beans and other nutrients are ground to make chikondi fala. Some of the mix is then donated to schools and hospitals. Given its good cause, the prisoners are eager to work on the project.
We are here to learn something in order to outside when we are turning back to do something good outside.
At Makande, enough fala is produced to feed everyone on the grounds and some 6,000 others outside the prison walls. In the spirit of paying back to society, the mix is named accordingly.
Chikondi means love, pala means porridge. This porridge is to bring back the love between them and the village.
Chikondi fala also helps instill hope among those who are released. By boldly moving into a prison, Dr. Kim is an inspiration to other volunteers. Currently, some 500 Malawian children have South Korean sponsors, thanks largely to this group of volunteers.
보통 내용은 건강했으면 좋겠다, 뭐 꿈을 이뤘으면 좋겠다, 뭐 가족들에 대한 안부도 많이 전하고 편지 보내줘서 고맙고 나중에 기회가 되면 한번 와보고 싶다, 보통 그런 내용이 많아요.
For 10 years now, Dr. Kim has devoted himself to rehabilitating inmates at Makande.
I studied criminal justice, and I learned that prison is at the very bottom of any society. But if the society is poor as Malawi, prison is very, very bad. In fact, very, very bad. And there was a calling to help this prison system.
Located near Makande Prison is Blantyre Market. Dr. Kim often shops here.
Hey!
Whenever he does, he's welcomed by familiar faces.
Makande.
This one. Yeah, I know Shaibu.
Shaibu.
Yeah. Hey.
They're former inmates of Makande Prison. Some seek Kim's advice.
No chamba. No chamba. Be good, don't come to prison.
You know what?
존재하지 않고 잘 사는 것만 해도 고맙고 어떤 애들은 뭐 그때 배운 것이 자기 인생에 큰 도움이 됐다 이렇게 얘기하는 애들도 있고 그래요. 근데 다들 어렵게 사니까 마음이 안 됐죠 뭐.
To many, Kim is a friend and father figure. Early morning at Makande. Work is in full swing at the prison's new soap factory. Essential for good health, yet soap is scarce in Malawi. So skills acquired here are valuable.
Maybe I will use some of them to buy some equipment that we are using here so that I can start my business.
Built with donations from South Korea, this factory produces soap for Makande and 28 other prisons. Soon, its output target will be 40,000 bars per month. In line with the idea of sharing, the soap is named uri, the Korean word for we.
As a part of this process, prisoners are learning the life of a giver. And we hope and we pray when they go back to their home and community, they lead a life of a giver.
Reborn as givers of society, thanks to their transformation, Makande Prison now serves as a model for rehabilitation.
As a government, we very much appreciate what is happening at Makande Prison. As a government, we would want to make sure that all the prisons that we have in the country.
Also undergoing change, Ubon, Thailand. Bordering Laos and Cambodia, Ubon Ratchathani is no longer a shanty town these days. The change in this village is attributed to Hong Song-won and his fellow volunteers. Children are at the forefront of their intervention.
부끄러움 많이 탄 아이였었는데 지금은 그게 많이 활달해지고 사람들 앞에서 그러게 이렇게 무대에 올라서 춤까지 출 정도로 아이 성격이 많이 밝아졌다고.
These days, smiles are all around.
คือว่านั่นลูกก็เพิ่งจะเขาเรียนเนาะแต่ว่าร้านนั่นก็เพิ่นก็เขาโดนแล้วก็มีหมู่มีหยังเข้าผ้าเฮ็ดผ้าหยังนะจ๊ะเพราะว่าครูผ้าเฮ็ดหยังมากก็มาเว้ามาเฮ็ดไม่หยังนะผ้าเต้นผ้าร้องเพลงผ้าหยังจังซี่จ้ะเพิ่นก็มาร้องมาท่องอยู่เฮือน
Launched 2 years ago, the Children's Development Program is offered in 6 villages of the region. Notorious as a smuggling route for yaba, or madness drug, most charities shy away from this area. Consequently, it's devoid of education and welfare. Among the children's favorite activities, taekwondo. Training the mind and body.
교육적인 부분, 사회적인 부분, 신체적인 부분, 영적인 부분 이렇게 4가지 분야로 나누어서 여러 가지 프로그램을 하고 있는데 가장 저희가 중점적으로 하고 있는 것은 아이들 교육적인 프로그램을 많이 지원을 하고 있습니다.
In the 6 villages of Ubon, some 2,500 people or 960 households reside. Of them, 2/3 are single-parent families, in which children are usually looked after by their grandmothers. At first, the people were uneasy with Hong, but now they all get along.
엄마 아빠는 이곳에 먹고 살 게 없으니까 전부 방콕이나 대도시로 가서 일을 해서 돈을 할머니나 할아버지한테 돈을 붙여드려요. 그러다 보니까 이 아이들은 할머니한테 생계수단이 되고 그래서 아이들을 갖다가 우리가 아이들한테 맡겨주십시오 이렇게 이야기를 해도 아이들을 우리가 뺏어가는 것처럼 그렇게 느끼는 것 같아요. 그래서 이제 처음에는 어려움이 많았죠. 사와디캅.
By calling on homes once a week for 2 years, Hong has won over locals, including their leader.
เพราะว่าในชุมชนเราน่ะมันคล้ายๆแบบว่าพ่อแม่ไม่ได้ดูเด็กก็ทำแต่งานอย่างเดียวเด็กก็ปล่อยไปก็ติดยาบ้างติดเกมบ้างติดอะไรก็มีโครงการนี้เข้ามาเด็กก็รู้สึกว่าดีขึ้นดีมากในระยะ1 ปี 2 ปีที่มีโครงการนี้นะคะ
ครับก็ตอนนี้ก็ชุมชนนี้ก็มีปัญหาหรือเปล่านะครับไม่มีปัญหาใช่ไหม
อะไรนะมีปัญหา
มีปัญหาอะไร
มีปัญหาอีกประมาณ1 เดือนก็น้ำท่วม
Still recovering from last year's devastating floods. If there's a silver lining, it's the friendship forged with CDP staff. Tucked inside the village, at a small brick factory, Bo is hard at work, as she has been since grade 5. She works weekends for extra cash.
ก็เป็นเด็กก็ได้ประมาณ100ถ้าว่าบางครั้งก็ได้150ค่ะ
สวัสดีครับสวัสดีสบายดีไหม
Bo's source of hope these days is her CDP mentor.
ตอนนี้โรงเรียนสนุกไหม
สนุกค่ะ
เพื่อนเยอะหรือเปล่า
เยอะมากเลยค่ะ
Catching up with her teacher while working before Bo realizes her work is done. Struggling the most in the village, Bo's family lives in this makeshift home in the wake of last year's floods. Bo's mother is the breadwinner since her dad suffers from alcoholism.
รู้สึกไม่ค่อยสบายใจเท่าไหร่ค่ะที่ลูกสาวไม่ไปโรงเรียนเพราะว่าแม่อยากให้ลูกได้เรียนดีๆได้ทำงานดีไม่อยากให้ทำงานหนักเหมือนเรานะคะอยากให้ลูกทำงานดีๆจบลำบากเนาะค่ะ
Their hopes and dreams are alive thanks to the CDP staff who built them this home after they were displaced by the floods. Another turning point is Bo's visit to South Korea.
แล้วก็ได้เจอทุกอย่างที่แตกต่างกับเมืองไทยมากเลยค่ะ
Having seen what life can be like firsthand in South Korea, Bo is determined to study and break out of this cycle of poverty.
ก็เป็นจำนวนน้อย
โตขึ้นอยากเป็นหมอค่ะเพราะว่าจะช่วยรักษาคนในชุมชนหรือว่าคนในละแวกอื่นหรือพ่อแม่เราที่เจ็บป่วยได้ค่ะก็ญาติๆเราด้วยค่ะ
With helping hands, Bo is on track to fulfilling her dream. A 2.5-hour drive from Ubon, on the outskirts of Sisaket Pushing Kokjaran, is a rubber plantation. Rows of towering trees are ready to be tapped. South Korean Ho Gi-dong manages this plantation for local villagers. The venture is now in its 8th year, making it relatively new in this field.
저희 고모 농장은 올해 이제 처음 시작했어요. 그래서 모든 농장이 첫 해에는 수액이 그렇게 많이 나오지는 않습니다.
From tree to tree, Ha and his fellow workers go to collect sap or latex from small buckets. Compared to other crops, rubber trees are usually more profitable. Harvesting begins in earnest at 11 p.m. Huts are made just deep enough to tap the latex vessels. Through such careful handling, rubber trees can live up to 20 years. As for the late-night harvest, harvesting after 8 years of toiling, expectations are high for the coming year.
내년 정도에는 아마 지금 심어져 있는 전체에 그 고무나무가 수확에 들어갈 것 같아요. 네, 그렇게 되면 저희가 좀 예상하는 어느 정도의 그런 수입이 발생하고 또 저희가 생각하는 그런 일들을 좀 펼치는 데 도움이 될 것 같습니다.
Among the plans, to fund education. Sponsored by citizens of Kunsan City in South Korea, on these grounds are a kindergarten, a dormitory, and a public library. As the first to be built in 20 years, the library currently has 1,000 books. Its name, Mansang Fan, reflects its goal.
어린아이들과 청소년들에게 꿈과 비전을 줄 수 있으면 좋겠어요. 그래서 저희가 이름을 만상 판이라고 했거든요. 이게 우리말로면 꿈을 짓는 집, 꿈을 만드는 집, 그런 의미를 뒀습니다. 또สวัสดีสบายดีไหมสบายดีค่ะพ่อวันนี้ยังไม่ไปโรงเรียนเหรอ
อีกสักพักค่ะเพราะว่ามีเรียนตอน 8:30 ค่ะ
อย่างนั้นพอเข้าไปข้างในนะนั่งนะ
Two girls share this dorm room.
สวัสดีกำลังเตรียมไปเรียนค่ะอ่านหนังสือค่ะ
แล้วมันอยู่ที่นี่มีอะไรมันจะไม่สะดวกไหม
ไม่สะดวกนะคะไม่ค่อยมี
This dorm is built for students from less privileged families. They also receive 10,000 baht as scholarship. Among the beneficiaries is Jin, a major in communication arts.
ขอบคุณมากจริงๆค่ะเพราะว่าหนูก็ไม่ได้เป็นคนร่ำรวยค่ะแต่ว่ามีคนสนับสนุนก็ทำให้หนูสามารถเรียนหนังสือได้แล้วก็สามารถมีโอกาสดีๆที่จะทำในมหาวิทยาลัยกับเพื่อนด้วยค่ะก็ค่าใช้จ่ายในมหาลัยก็แพงมากค่ะอย่างต่ำก็10,000 ค่ะ
앞으로는 이 태국 사회에 도움이 되는 유능한 인재들을 길러내는 그런 교육 사업에 사실은 밑거름 역할을 할 수 있기를 저희가 소망합니다.
By seeing the good in all people and by directly reaching out to protect and educate the young, South Korea's spirit of sharing knows no bounds nor borders.